Welcome to Thursday. This is the day that has filled the city of Jerusalem with such crowds. This is the day of Passover. Jesus and his disciples will enter the city of Jerusalem. Peter and John are sent by Jesus to meet a man who will lead them to a furnished upper room where they are to prepare for the Passover meal. As the meal was beginning to be served, Jesus gets up from the table, lays his outer garment aside, and grabs a towel and a basin of water. He begins to wash the disciples' feet. Going around the table, he stops to wash the feet of each and every disciple. This includes Judas Iscariot. Coming to Peter, Peter attempts to object. The washing of feet was a servant's task, not one for the teacher, the rabbi. Rather than argue with Peter, Jesus points out that the problem is that Peter does not yet understand what Jesus is doing, but he will. Peter's objection becomes more forceful. "You will never wash my feet," Peter asserts. Jesus responds by telling Peter that unless he allows the washing of his feet, Peter would have no part with him. Now Peter changes his tune. He requests that his hands and head be washed as well. He wants all the part he can get. Again, Jesus suggests that what Peter lacks is understanding, and that such a bath is not needed, just the washing of his feet. Jesus completes the task and returns to the table. He now explains that they have been given an illustrated example of how they ought to serve each other. The blessing will be found in their obedience. The next event to occur around the table is that Jesus reveals that he will be betrayed by one of them. Shock fills the room as they all begin to look around, wondering who it was that Jesus was talking about. Peter motions to John, who is positioned closest to Jesus, to ask him who it is. Jesus says that it is the one to whom Jesus will give the piece of bread that has been dipped in the dish. Upon dipping the bread, Jesus gives it to Judas and challenges him to do quickly what he is about to do. Everyone around the table completely misses the significance of the exchange. When Judas got up from the table and quickly left the room, they all thought he was going to handle some business related to the Passover meal or supporting the poor. That exchange being completed and the wheels of the betrayal having been set in motion, Jesus becomes more serious and begins to share about his departure. He issues a new command for them. "Love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." Peter, sensing Jesus' departure, wants to know where he is going and why he can't come. He promises that he will lay down his life for Jesus if that's what it takes. Peter is shocked and horrified when Jesus tells him that by the time the rooster crows, he will have denied and disowned Jesus 3 times. In the context of this Passover meal, Jesus instructs his followers to keep him in remembrance with the broken bread and the shared cup. The conversation continues as Jesus attempts to comfort them with the promise of his return and the promise of sending the Holy Spirit. In the midst of trouble and tribulation, they are challenged to accept his peace and the Holy Spirit's comfort and instruction. The evening concludes as Jesus and the disciples make their way out of Jerusalem to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus enters a time of prayer and awaits his arrest, while his disciples struggle to stay awake. Welcome to Thursday.